Good morning, guys. Whew. Let's start upright today as it is early and it's our 30-minute class. So starting upright, you can have your legs crossed. You can be in like a hero's pose where you're sitting on your shin and just start to check in with yourself. We won't spend too much time here, but it's important that you ground into your practice. It's important that you take a moment just for you. So put aside all the things you have to do today and just check in with how you're feeling physically, how you're feeling mentally, and even emotionally. Acknowledge those sensations and then put those aside as well and become more present in this moment. And as we anchor into our practice, start to slow down your breathing. If you have a little bit of mental chatter this morning, you can count. So inhale for a count of three, exhale for a count of three. Find this really nice slow rhythm of breath. And as you're focusing on the breath and you're letting your body just kind of settle in this upright shape, you should focus on gratitude this morning. And it can just be one thing. Just one thing. What are you grateful for this morning? Is it the smell of the coffee brewing in the other room? Is it that you got 7 hours of sleep last night? Is it for the sweater that you're wearing because it's chilly? Pick one thing to be grateful for. And then at any point in your practice, when your mind starts to wander, or any point in your day, when your mind starts to wander and the anxiety and the stress and life starts to creep in, just come back to that one thing that you're grateful for. And I promise it'll pull you out of that fight or flight state and it'll bring you back to just a moment of peace. So we're going to start with a little bit of outer hip opening and some back stretching. So come to your seat and bring the soles of your feet together. We're going to get up and move too, but let's ease into this practice this morning. However, let the heels of your feet be far from your groin. It's early, we're stiff, we don't want to go too deep. If this is too much on the knees right now, you can even wedge some pillows under here for additional support. And I want you to take a nice conscious inhale, feel the abdomen filling up with that fresh new breath. And as you exhale, softly hinge forward. So we're not going to focus too much on your alignment just yet. Try not to round so much through the back. Really try and keep the collarbones lifted, but you don't have to be so rigid in this pose. Just starting to stretch out through the back, the lower back, the outside of the hips. You can close your eyes here. Maybe you're feeling really open and you want to come all the way down. Let's spend 5 breaths here, just breathing into any restrictions or tightness that you may be experiencing in the back muscles. This is also a forward fold, so we're starting our practice with a little bit of introspection, focusing on that one thing that you are grateful for today. Letting the breath be even and steady. Maybe your next exhale, you go just a little bit deeper, just pushing past your comfort zone and really getting a deep stretch in the back muscles. And then inhale, we're going to come all the way up and then supine and start with a little bit of core work before we come to standing and flow. So draw the knees in towards the chest, pressing your sacrum into the earth and starting to feel yourself grounding into your practice. Inhale, take the soles of the feet up towards the sky and just start to point and flex through the feet, waking up through the ankles, soles of the feet, the calves. You can draw circles with your ankles here. And then coming to stillness and drawing your toes down towards your face. So really pressing through the soles of your feet. Your hands are going to be comfortably at your side or underneath of your sacrum for additional support. And keep this activation through the legs. And as you exhale, you're going to drop your legs about 30%. Be sure that your sacrum is still pressing firmly into the mat. So if you feel like a little bit of a concave, a little bit of a hollowing section behind the sacrum, just tilt the pelvis and actively press it into the earth. The next exhale, you're going to drop your legs to hover. So this is where you want to be sure that you're really engaging through the legs. You're starting to activate through the lower abdominals and the erector muscles. Keep your breath steady, feeling the tops of those hip flexors starting to stretch. One more breath. Inhale up towards the sky. So we're going to do that 2 more rounds and hold each variation for 3 rounds of breath. If you really want to challenge yourself this morning, you can bring your arms overhead. The thumbs touch the mat and the palms will face one another. So exhale, lower down 30%. 3 even steady breaths, keeping your spine on the mat, keeping your legs active. And then you lower down to hover, really pressing through the soles of your feet, feeling those hip flexors wake up, feeling the back muscles engage, the lower abdominals, the erector muscles. Last round, inhale up towards the sky, take a breath. Maybe you point and flex the feet. And then last round, exhale 30%, 3 breaths. And then exhale to hover. Giving a big stretch for the whole body. Feel the energy moving through you. You're grounded and connected to the earth. Feeling the warmth in the abdominals, the heat, that Agni. Last in breath and exhale, rest. Crossing over the ankles, getting a little bit of rocky momentum, coming up or coming right up to a standing dive. Standing forward fold, hang heavy for just a moment. Let the head be soft and heavy. Actively press down through your heels and starting to straighten through your legs. So if you traditionally have like tight hamstrings, this may be a little bit challenging for you. You can come out of the forward fold slightly and just be here. This is going to be easier on your hamstrings. For those of us who are a little bit more open this morning, you can hang heavy, intertwine your fingers, and place them on the back of your head. This is going to give you just a little bit more weight and help decompress through the spine. So we're going to take 2 more breaths here, letting the torso be heavy, engaging through the legs. You can release the hands. And then with the eyes closed, you're slowly going to roll up to a standing position. The head and neck will come last. And we're going to take 3 rounds of half sun salutations, and then we'll get into some flow. So on the inhale, you draw the arms up overhead. Exhale, you hinge forward, you let something go, you feel those hamstrings stretch. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, you round. And then inhale, you draw up to standing. Keep moving with the breath. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale, you hinge forward. Inhale, you lift. Exhale, you round. And then inhale up to standing. Last time. Gathering the arms overhead, collecting the heat of the sun. Exhale, hinging forward. The hands come to the earth. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, you round. And last time, inhale, you roll up to standing where you pause in Tadasana, mountain pose. Check back in with the breath. Make sure the inhales and the exhales are still steady, reminding you that the breath initiates the movement. So starting to get some flow into this, we're going to inhale, draw the arms up, find extension through the whole body. Exhale as you hinge forward, hands towards the earth. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, let's take the right foot back, drop the right knee, and just hang out here for a couple breaths in low lunge. Make sure the left knee is on top of the ankle and the right knee is behind the hip. If you find yourself here, it's going to be too much on the kneecap and it's going to be really uncomfortable eventually. So take it back here. This is also where we're going to stretch out that front hip flexor. Just a couple more moments here, breathing into any restrictions or tightness. You can even pulse a little bit, letting the pelvis be heavy. And then the next inhale, you're going to sit back towards your right heel as you straighten your left leg. Keep the whole foot firmly on the mat. Usually we come up on the heel, but for this one, we're going to keep the foot on the mat. Breathing into the stretch that you're getting in the top of your foot and the gentle stretch in your hamstring. Next exhale, you're going to sit forward again, straightening that right hip flexor, bending back into the left knee. Take a round of breath here and consciously let the pelvis, the tummy, and the glutes be heavy. Feel the gravity drawing them closer to the mat. And then your next inhale, you sit back towards that right heel. This time you're going to draw the toes of the left foot up and back towards you. Exhale, hinge over that left foot. You can bring your hand to it for stability. Really breathing into that hamstring. Getting a nice gentle stretch for the back as we hinge forward. And then exhale, bend back into the left knee. We're going to tuck the right toes, use the strength of your core, and lift the right hips for runner's lunge. Get yourself nice and steady and stable here. And with the breath, 3 times, we're going to straighten that left leg. So inhale, you straighten the left leg. Exhale, you bend the knee. 2 more times. Inhale, straighten that left leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Last time, and we're going to hold. So inhale, straighten the left leg, and exhale, let your torso kind of waterfall over the leg. So you're getting a stretch for your back, a big stretch for that right hip flexor and your left hamstring. You can challenge yourself here. I know it's early, but you can still challenge yourself by rolling onto the heel of your left foot and drawing those toes up towards your face. This really intensifies the expression here. So maybe you give it a shot. And then exhale, we're going to bend back into runner's lunge. Nice straight spine here. As you inhale, the arms frame the ears. You rotate your pelvis, and we're coming up into crescent warrior. So high on the ball of the back foot, tilt the tailbone, the arms are reaching up. And we're going to spend about 3 more breaths here. So be sure to find stability in your pose. Nice strengthening and grounding expression. And then come back to what you're grateful for. Exhale, we're going to open up warrior 2. So starting to get into the inner hips and the groin. Make sure that your wrists are in line with your shoulders, shoulders in line with your hips. Weight pressing into the pinky side of your feet, and you're actively squeezing the inner thighs together. That's how you're going to get the most out of this pose physically. So we're going to spend some extra time here in warrior 2. So maybe you close the eyes. Check in with the breath. Are you still breathing nice and steady and smooth? And then check in with yourself. How does this pose make you feel? Like beyond the physical. How does this pose make you feel mentally, energetically, emotionally? Just one more breath here in this beautiful warrior 2. And then we're going to windmill both hands to the mat. Pivot on the ball of your right foot, and we're coming into standing splits, guys. So anchor down through your left foot and lift that right foot up, standing splits. And keep your hip points squared to the earth, so the right toes are towards the earth. Breathing into that left hamstring, the outside of the left hip. One more breath here in standing splits, and then we're going to transition. So you're going to take that left hand and kind of place it, fingers tented, underneath of your face. So, maybe 12 or so inches in front of the left foot. And now you're going to peel your right hip open. You can leave your right hand still on the mat here, guys. Peel your right hip open, stack your hips like you would in Warrior Two, and then very slowly, maybe you lift the right hand and you come into half moon pose. The right hand can stay at the hip. This helps with stability, and it's also a little bit kinder on the shoulder. So one more breath here in half moon pose. It's going to take a little bit of a trust fall, guys, because we're going to land in Warrior Two. So inhale, you lift your torso. Exhale, Warrior Two. Windmill both hands to the earth. Take that left foot up and back, three-legged dog. Maybe you leave it raised and move through a three-legged vinyasa. And then we're going to step back to downward dog. 5 breaths here in down dog. Equal weight between your hands and feet. Feeling the spine lengthen. The back body, that receiving body, starts to open. And coming back to that thing that you are grateful for. And then describe it to yourself. What is it? Is it a tangible object? Is it a person? Is it a memory? Relive it. Experience that thing that you are grateful for. Taking a bend in the knees, you switch the gaze, then hop, step, or float to the front of the mat. Exhale, we fold, and inhale, we rise to standing. We're going to pause here, mountain pose, and kind of recollect ourselves. So remember, mountain pose is this opportunity to check in with your body, check in with your breath, find some clarity. This is also a active pose. It's not passive. So you are actively pressing down through your heels, squeezing your thighs and your glutes, engaging the core, palms face forward, shoulders are away from the ears, and you're anchoring into this present moment. And on the next inhale, you draw both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, hands towards the earth. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we're stepping the left foot back and we drop the knee. Low lunge. Give yourself a moment here. Let that pelvis be nice and heavy. So we're starting to stretch that front of the left hip flexor. Depending on how you're feeling, you may even be feeling this across your lower back. All right, keeping the right foot and the right toes on the mat, we're going to inhale, straighten back towards the left heel. This is giving us a nice stretch for the top of our foot here. You can exhale and just let the torso kind of rest over that right leg, rounding a bit through the back, getting a gentle stretch. And then you exhale, bend back into the right knee. You spend a couple extra breaths here, letting the pelvis be soft and the belly and the glutes, letting gravity gently draw our pelvic bowl towards the earth. And the next time we inhale, we straighten that right leg, but we're going to roll our toes up towards our face, deepening the stretch in the hamstring. Exhale. It may just be a half an inch, but let the torso kind of hinge forward. You can round here. You don't have to be so strict with your spinal alignment. You can round here, let the head be heavy, and get a nice stretch for the back as well. And then exhale, we bend back into that right knee. Take a round of breath, really letting that pelvis be heavy. Then you're going to tuck your toes, lift the hips, and come into that runner's lunge. So 3 times we're going to straighten that right leg. So inhale, we straighten the right leg. Exhale, we bend the knee. Inhale, we straighten. Exhale, we bend. Last time we inhale, straighten, and then let the torso waterfall over the leg, getting the stretch for the back. Breathing into the sensations, noticing where you're feeling restriction. Notice where you're feeling resistance in the body or even in the mind. And then see if you can consciously give those areas permission to soften. Maybe you roll the toes of that right foot up towards the face, really intensifying the stretch. Be soft. Exhale, bend back into that right knee. Use your inhalation to lift you up into crescent warrior. 3 breaths here. Really feel yourself anchoring into the earth. Feel that channel of energy just moving right through you. If you're getting a little distracted, come back to that thing that you are grateful for. Let that be the emotion, or let that be the sensation that's carrying you through your practice today. And then exhale, open up. Nice long breath here in warrior two. So opening up through the front of the hips here, actively squeezing the inner thighs together. So you're engaging through your glutes, your legs, the core. The breath is steady. And then checking in with how this expression makes you feel. Do you feel powerful? Do you feel like this is your power stance, like you're taking up some space here? Do you feel grounded? Do you feel peaceful, open, expressive? How does this pose make you feel? All right, we're going to windmill our hands to the mat, pivot on the ball of that left foot, and we're coming up into standing splits. Remember to keep your hips square here. So keep the left toes pointing down towards the earth and keep that foot flexed. That's the key here. Oftentimes we want to like point it like a ballerina. Nope, we're flexing. We're yogis. Hinge deeper into that forward fold. Really feeling that right hamstring. And now you're going to take your right hand and bring it under your face, fingers tented, and just start to peel that left hip open. When you feel that your hips are stacked, then maybe you bring that left arm up, or you can also just leave it on the hips here. It doesn't have to come all the way up. But keep that left foot flexed and keep that foot in line with your hip. Whoop, I'm wobbly. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Breathing into the challenge. And then remember, it's going to be that trust fall to come out of it. So you bend slightly in the right knee as you lift the torso and drop into warrior two. Beautiful. Windmill the hands to the mat. Take that right foot up and back. Maybe you take vinyasa. Maybe you skip it. But we're going to come to a closed-kneed child's pose. And this is where we're going to rest for a few breaths. So the closed-kneed child's pose is going to stretch your back a little bit more, but if you want to feel more of a stretch for your hips, then do a wide-kneed child's pose. So closed knee to get a bigger stretch for the back, wide knee to get a bigger stretch for the hips. Stack your palms, rest your forehead, and start to slow down your breathing. So you've been focusing on these equal inhales and exhales. Now it's time to elongate through the exhales and start to prepare yourself for Shavasana. This is also another opportunity to have a little bit of introspection. What is it that you're grateful for? And then can you describe that thing, that object, that person, that memory, that experience? Can you describe it in complete detail to yourself? If it's that cup of coffee that's waiting for you and that's what you're grateful for this morning, can you see the steam rising from it? Can you feel the warmth of the mug in your hand? So with the next inhale, you're just gonna walk yourself up to a seat, and then we're coming all the way supine. So there's no real graceful way to do it. So just roll onto your back, draw the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you take a happy baby here, getting another stretch for the lower back and the hips. And with your next exhale, you're gonna drop both knees over to your left for a supine twist. Remember to elongate through the exhales, preparing you for Shavasana. Still focusing and describing that thing that you are grateful for. in complete detail. If it's that cup of coffee, is it dark roast? Is it medium roast? Is it Turkish coffee? Is it espresso? Be specific. Feel the gentle stretch of the back and this nice supported supine twist. And then inhale, the knees are center. And then exhale, you drop them to the other side. What are you grateful for? Slowing down the breath. And when you're ready, you're going to draw the knees back in center and we're going to come into Shavasana. So if you want to continue the stretch of the hips, you can bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees splay open and take Shavasana here in this goddess pose. It's a short Shavasana today. It's just a short practice. So as soon as you decide how you want to spend your Shavasana, settle into that expression and then give the body permission to be soft. Feel the earth as it holds you. Feel the breath as it carries you into the state of relaxation. And then bring that thing that you are grateful for into the forefront of your mind, as if it's just resting gently on your stomach or your chest. You just have this thing that you are grateful for, just right here in your hand. This sense of gratitude, this sense of ease and rest that you're experiencing here in Shavasana, you can have this all day long. This doesn't have to be isolated on the mat at the end of your yoga practice. You can literally walk through your day feeling exactly how you feel in Shavasana. You have the tools, you know how to take yourself into that state of rest by elongating the exhale. You know how to allow your body to be soft. You know how to check in with yourself. And you know how to switch your mindset when stressors or other unnecessary thoughts are creeping in. Focus on something that you're grateful for. Shavasana. Rest. You're welcome to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. This is your practice. This is the most important pose. But when you're ready, just gently bring your awareness back to your body. Start to deepen the breath and begin to find gentle movements through the muscles of your face, fingers, and your toes. You make your way back to an upright seat where you close your eyes. And just as we began, we check in with ourselves. How are you feeling now? And remember, sensation isn't just physical, guys. Sensation is mental, it's emotional. So check in with all of the sensations of you. How are you feeling? And then drawing the hands together at heart center in a sign of gratitude, in honor of all that you are. Namaste.